What's up, everybody? So, despite the fact that A Cure for Wellness kind of looks like a Shutter Island ripoff, it actually kind of has a pretty interesting premise, not gonna lie. Dane DeHaan is kind of like this Wall Street kid who has to go find the CEO of his company because the company is having a few financial inconsistencies, and they need to get him back so that they can have somebody who's kind of a patsy who can kind of like take the fall for all the shit that's going on because the company's coming under investigation. So off he goes to the Swiss Alps to check out this wellness center. A bunch of weird shit happens and away we go. And I'll say right off the bat, like, I don't think it's a bad movie, but I'm still kind of struggling to find a point to it because anytime you watch a movie, that movie has a goal of some kind. Because if it's a horror movie, the goal of it is to either scare you, creep you out, or gross you out even. In other words, it's there to unsettle you. A comedy movie is there just to make you laugh. Even if it's not like artistically great, like from a critical standpoint, as long as it achieves the goal that it's set out to do, I feel like it's a successful film, just as kind of a general rule. Take Scary Movie as a prime example. There is no rhyme or reason as to why anything happens in that movie. There's no character development, no anything. But the movie's funny as fuck, and it's set out to make fun of movies in that particular genre, so it achieved its goal, so to speak. And for me personally, I didn't really see this movie having a goal necessarily. It had potential for like several different paths that it could have went on, but it didn't really take one. It didn't really like take a stance. It had elements of being a horror movie. It didn't totally follow through because I wasn't really like scared more than once or twice throughout the whole movie. There was like maybe two or three like real like gross out moments in the movie where you're just like, ew. Or maybe not even gross out, but just like really unsettling scenes. There's a pretty harsh scene involving dentistry. I'll just leave it at that. And the movie's 2.5 hours. That's a long time to not be scared of an allegedly horror film. And it had the potential to be like a psychological thriller. It had this potential to be like a mystery movie. Or even like a really serious drama with like, you know, commentary on like mental health and shit like that. But I feel like the goal of the movie was lost in everything else because there was a whole bunch of other like cool shit that was going on in the movie. Like I have a lot of good things to say about it. First of all, just the imagery alone is sadistically good. Like the visual art concepts that are like throughout the movie that don't take place in like New York City are all fucking fantastic. There are some visual shots where you see like the Swiss Alps coupled with like something else. Those things are amazing. And some of the shots that are like meant to be scary aren't really that scary. It like took me out of like the horror element of it because it looks so fantastic. I know that's weird to say, but there are some scenes that looked too artistically awesome for you to be afraid of it, I guess, if that makes sense. But like I mentioned, it kind of distorted the goal of the film. And just a fair warning, there's a lot of like elderly nudity throughout the movie. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I know I'm not gonna look young forever. It just caught me off guard, so I figured I'd bring it up. The music was good for the most part. I was pretty happy with it. And the acting is straight up just on point throughout the entire movie. Dane DeHaan is a super underrated actor, and I really wish that kid would catch a break, because he's really good. And there's this girl named Mia Goth in the movie. I've never seen her in anything else, but she's really good at being like super creepy, and she kind of has like an alien face. Or at least that's the way it looks, because you can't see her eyebrows for like most of the movie. And anytime I see that, it wigs me out. But the reality is she was just so freaking pale and her eyebrows were like so blonde that you just couldn't even see them. But that whole thing played into like how her character was supposed to look. Either way, she did a good job. And Jason Isaacs is, you know, he's just a champion in pretty much everything he's in. And lately, I think he's been doing a really good job because I saw him in the OA and he's like this nefarious low-key asshole. And he's kind of like that in this movie, but he's like a little bit more sinister. It's like his dialogue said one thing, but his voice said something completely different. And he really kept up this like, I'm uptight, snooty doctor with a super positive smiley attitude because clearly something's wrong. And I'll say overall, the movie was a little bit predictable, but there was a couple of oh shit moments where you're just like, oh, look at that, whoa. Like there was a couple of twists and turns, but again, ultimately, it just didn't have like a full through line as far as genre goes by the end of the film. And honestly, I felt like they could have shaved a good 20 minutes off of the movie. I don't know how, but I feel like it would have been much more cohesive if they would have done it that way. But overall, it's a really interesting movie, and nothing is really like bad about it other than the story slash plot. So that being said, I'm gonna give it a 6.3. It's definitely worth a watch, but if you're like hit or miss on horror movies and you don't like movies that are like longer than 2 hours, I would say don't watch it. But there is some serious eye candy throughout the entire movie, and honestly, you know what? It was worth the money. I'm glad I saw it. I just wish they would have had like a more firm grasp as to what they were going for, like tonally. But hey, no movie's perfect, I guess. But anyway, those are my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts? Did you see this movie? Do you want to see it? Hop in the comments. Let me know what's up. Other than that, if you like this review, give me a like, subscribe, do all that other bullshit, and I'll catch you guys later.